एक दिन ऐसा होएगा, कोई कहो ना काही, नाही घर की नारी को कहे, तन की नाड़ी नाही कबीरा, तन की नाड़ी नाही। एक दिन ऐसा होएगा, कोई कहू का नाही, घर की नारी को कहे, तन की नाढ़ी नाही कबीरा, तन की नाढ़ी नाही। Title: The Deplorable Day. One day will come, you will be of no use to anyone, including the lady in the house and the nerve vigor in the body. Both will abandon you. Remember, my dear, Sant Kabir ji say, remember the reality of life. Either you learn it through knowledge, or you shall learn it through experience. You will learn it one day. एक दिन ऐसा होएगा, कोई कहू का नाही. Nobody is interested. Nobody will concern, including your own. I'm reminded of a story my guru used to tell. He knew a family very well, and so on and off he used to visit them. And young, they were in their mid-50s, but there was a tragedy and the husband passed away. So he felt obliged and he visited the family and things like that. And subsequently, he happened to visit after a few weeks or a month or so. And for some reason, he noticed that a particular room, a bedroom, was locked up with a latch inside the house. And he found it a little peculiar to have an inside portion of your house locked up with a latch and key, locked up with a lock. Then he inquired, why is it that you have locked up that room? Oh, Swamiji, that used to be our bedroom. Oh, it used to be a bedroom. Now why have you locked up? No, now there is he is no more. So I manage in the other room. The kid also is not there. So I just manage. I have the caretaker. I manage in the other room. But he just started probing. But why is it that you have locked up that place? Why can't you continue to use the thing? No, whenever I go into the room, I am afraid he'll come back. If he comes back, so even that's what he's saying. A lady in the house also will not want you back once you're gone. So afraid if he comes back, then what? So I don't know whether I can do justice to this mantra having said that. So what is the absolute perspective is very easy to understand. The vigor, the nerve vigor in the body will abandon you. The lady in the house, nobody would want you. In fact, the moment you're gone, the way your address changes. It's amazing. The reality is spoken. The moment you're gone, is just the body. And it can happen next minute to me, I become the mere body. Isn't that true? How many times have we not come across? So when you hear this, it should only help us develop a sense of vairagya to the physical body. That's the objective. See, when we come across these extreme ideas, it is to help us understand the value you give to your physical body, the value you attach to it, so that we reevaluate. We don't entertain these ideas. How often would you be entertaining these kind of ideas, Sriniji?
Me personally, never.
Never. Yeah. So if I would be with you, a lay person, a person who wouldn't be drawn to these ideas would hardly think in these lines, isn't it? So if a person would never ever ponder on these absolute realities of life, these are the realities of life, isn't it? And if one doesn't ponder, what would be the chances that they're prepared to face such an eventuality any day, any moment it might arrive? What would be the chances they're prepared to face them? Very slim, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't know you were asking me. Okay.
No, I was actually waiting for a feedback from you. You know,
Oh,
what
I'm
are the
sorry,
chances? No problem. You know, so since you have never ever pondered, you've never ever considered these elements in life, it is very unlikely you would be prepared to face when they happen, isn't it?
True.
Now, it is not the question of the ultimate sojourn, the ultimate passage, the ultimate stage which all of us would be subjected to. You may say, sir, when that happens, I am not aware of it. So what happens if my wife or my near and dear neglect me, don't want me? It's okay. You know, you may say, how does it concern me when I die? Isn't it? And you may scoff it off. You may just dismiss it off. But I would draw the attention, the same idea from a relative perspective. The same idea, if you look at it from a relative perspective, it becomes applied philosophy, which you can look into it every day, every minute it can have a relevance. Now, absolutely, when you say, which he says one day will come when you will be of no use to anybody. That's when the body, you just become the mere body, the mortal remains. What use are you to you? No use. But relative sense, today, when is it that you have a following? When is it that you have a following in any field of life? As long as you're able to contribute in some way or the other, you are wanted. Am I right?
Correct.
Even in your corporate career, whichever position you held, as long as you brought some value to the organization, to your department, to your company, you're wanted. The moment they realize, and they're very smart, they realize that you are of not any great use to them, what happens? You're told politely, clear your desk, create the space for somebody else. Thank you for your services. Pack your bags and leave. So what does it mean? As long as one can contribute, there's a retinue. Tomorrow, when I'm not able to contribute, I understand nobody wants you. Nobody wants you. Now, it's not. So what it only says is the world is selfish. They don't want you. They only want something from you. Nobody cares for you, sir. Nobody cares for you. Today, I am in a position to contribute in some way to you. I have a certain amount of affection and love I receive. Tomorrow, I lose my vocal cords. I've lost my ability to speak. That day onwards, I must read this verse every day, every morning. Pratas Smarami, 4 o'clock in the morning, I must read this to console myself. What happened to the world? Where are they? Everybody has gone by. There will be an initial inquiry. Yo, what happened to you, Guruji? How is it? Oh my God, I can't digest it. Blah, blah, blah. After that, what? I am left to myself. In the house also, if I want anything every time, I'm talking nobody. I'm only ringing the bell. I want attention. They'll get annoyed every time I ring the tung tung. I keep ringing the bell. They get very annoyed. Hey, what is this? This is a nuisance. I have no use to, even in your own family. I don't have to go to the end of it. When you're of no use to anybody, sir, how do in the current scenario you look at people? How do you look at your own elder who are dependent on you? How are they looked up at? Isn't that a revelation? Isn't that a reality? In fact, I wouldn't want to be saying this, but a very, very close, thanks, Suniji, a very close family member of ours, they were waiting for the elder lady in the family to die, waiting, because she had fortune, a huge property, and they were waiting for her to die so that they have control. And the moment, and they tried all possible ways and means to get her signature, to give them the what do you call that? The rights. What is the exact word for that? Yes, Setuji, what do you call that? Power of attorney. Yeah, is it the power of attorney? I don't think it's a power of attorney. Is that the right word?
It's a will.
She writes in the will.
Yeah, the will, right. Maybe a little too early to write my will yet. But we should write and keep. Never know when the day comes. What little I have is anyway, So the will, correct. And they tried every possible means to influence her will, and then she was not budging, and what not. What all they did, I can't think of how low a person can stoop. It was sad. And I see the same people in the family smiling and laughing now. I said, how gross can you be, man? Siddhiji, you want to say something, sir?
Guruji, initially you said abandon after death, but later you said, I wanted to say abandon during when person is alive, but
alive.
But Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a great example. So when he was invalid, no one cared him. The moment he died, again there was mourning, and there was full of pages and all. But he was a guru for the prime minister. But when he was when he has no say, the whole country abandoned him. So,
it's happening right throughout, isn't it? Yes, a very apt example we all had seen in the Indian political history. So it happens in all fields of life, in all walks of life, because this is the reality. So Sant Kabir ji is saying, in fact, the same idea is also, as Hariji has pointed out, it is being brought out by Adi Shankaracharya in the text Bhajagovindam. in more than one reference, he puts it, in the 6th verse, he says, Yavat pavano nivasati dehe, tavat pruchati kushalam gehe, gatavati vayo deyapaya, bharya bibhyati tasmin kaya. Same idea he puts it, he says, as long as breath lasts in the body, there will be inquiry of welfare at home. Once breath leaves and the body decays, even the wife fears the same body. Bharya, even your own wife will not come anywhere near you. Yeah, she fears the same thought. So, yes, sir.
It's an irony. See, if someone doesn't abandon all the wealth he has, even before he dies, it is going to be a baggage. He'll be all the time. Somehow he will be thinking about himself, and he is not going to think about God. But in the moment you say that he abandons everything, then the family will not care him. So this wealth with him is also not going to come to any rescue. Yeah, if he has a simple life and he isolates himself, then he has to, only thing is we all have to realize and focus on the higher. Because this, see, people do say you should retain wealth and all, so that you are given importance by the family and all. But to pursue the higher, we have to lead a very simple life. We have to abandon, because otherwise it is all said and done, it is going to be a baggage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, therefore, what is the message we have to draw so that we are reminded of that message right throughout? So, what's the message?
Realize the reality and be prepared for it, and focus on the higher.
Sir, what is the reality, sir?
Reality is what all you said is the reality.
Okay, thank you, sir. I will rewind and listen to what all I said, sir.
We have to increase capacity to face them.
The capacity to face it. Other day only I was telling somebody, I wouldn't want to be referring to, how non-reliable are the impermanence. Rajima, you said the right word, the impermanence of the retinue. Today I have a certain amount, a certain number of, a certain following. What guarantee can I have that I'll have this retinue of following 3 months, 6 months, 1 year down the road? Reddy Garu, please give me some assurance, sir. What assurance can I give myself that I will have this retinue, which I had 1 year ago, I have today, which will be there for the next 1 year?
No assurance, Guruji. No, nothing.
No assurance.
No one can think of.
Absolutely, isn't it? So when, sir, you are not giving me assurance, I thought at least you would give me the assurance. What is this?
No.
Very bad. So morning, you told me, telling such a truth, sir. At least to appease me, you could have spoken,
The truth has come from your mouth, Guruji, because you himself said starting off that you are not aware of next moment where you are.
Correct. Very true. So if this impermanence is, there's no guarantee of it. So therefore, what's the quality I need to have when I have a following? There's no point entertaining any thought when it's gone.
Yes.
I keep saying this. It's been a while I haven't said it, so let me say it. Men may come, men may go. I go on forever. Today you are with me. Tomorrow you will not be with me. But I have not started this journey with you. It will not end with you. You have just decided to tag along in this journey. I'm happy to take you along. But for all right reasons, you decided to move on. I'm very happy to have shared this journey with you, but I go on. So what do you draw from that message from that? What's the message you draw? What's the quality we need to practice?
The quality of living in the present. So one thing which we need to, of that means.
So the opposite is living in the, sorry. Opposite of present is, you say you're living in the past and things like that.
Yeah.
Am I right, sir?
Yeah.
But that is not the right aspect here. That is not the right quality here. When I have a following, what is it I should be constantly reminded? There's any time anybody can abandon me, isn't it?
Yeah. So everything is perishable, so that we need to mentally get prepared for that. That's nothing is permanence.
Everything is perishable. Don't be too dependent on it. Understand that. Don't be too overwhelmed by something which is coming your way, because it is going to pass. It shall pass. It will pass. Even if you don't want it to pass, it will pass. So don't be too dependent on it. So the opposite of dependency is
detachment.
No. The opposite of dependency.
Self-reliance, or you meant to say?
The opposite of dependency is self-reliance. You are self-sufficient. We have brought out this particular quality earlier. It only highlights again and again the need to be self-reliant. Atma vinigraha. You have to Atma, your own, you are dependent on yourself than anything external. Because I have no guarantee of anything external. So why am I relying on something external and making myself vulnerable? It is not only at death, at every moment of life, nothing is guaranteed. So why are you pegging yourself on anything external?
That's true. In fact, I would like to share, Guruji. I just met one gentleman about 2 to 3 weeks back. I was interacting. He was doing quite a lot of charitable activities, and he has been acquired around 300 acres of land to develop the Goshala somewhere in Ongole, Nellore district area. I have big plans drawn how we can able to develop that and make the best protection of the cows. And his son is around 24 years old. Son is assisting in this project. He's a man who cooks the food on his own and travels across the India and have the food only once in a day. And they have a lot of plans how lineage of this continuity will take care of by his son, and the next how the project will get developed. Yesterday, I came to know the son who have been traveling from the distance to there, he met with the accident, is no more. And in 3 weeks' time, what his dreams, what his plans, how he thought the whole future is going to be for this project, for the society is gone. So I happened to speak to him. So he was undeterred. He says, that's part of the life. Yes, 3 weeks back, that was my plan. No, my plans are going to change. I have to find somebody who can drive this project. So means he's prepared for every moment that anything can happen next moment. So not that you tag that you will be permanent in this life and your associates are permanent in the life. So I could able to see the, I could say the wisdom in his thoughts and mind that yes, he lost a life, only one son he has it. But he was so composed when he was making a statement.
This is what I was asking Sriniji. If one has not pondered over these ideas consciously, how well prepared we are when life presents us with such challenges is what we are getting prepared for. And yes. I'm glad you had that perspective. You could notice that the maturity in him to have not rocked. That ship is constantly being rocked, but you're not rocked. by all the vicissitudes and ups and downs. You know? So it is important. One is to understand, to develop self-sufficiency. The second thing I want to ask Kashish, second thing, when should you develop this? Thanks, Reddy Garu. When should you develop this attitude?
Guruji, I imagine as soon as you can. As soon as I guess when your brain is developed, maybe around 20, but like as soon as you can comprehend the idea of death and what it means to.
Why are you telling 20? Not earlier than that?
Well, maybe teenagers will understand too, but at least when I was a teenager, I was in a very existential crisis phase of like, you cannot comprehend that your body is going to die. Like your mind can't comprehend its own unconsciousness. So once you get over that hurdle, maybe some people will reach it earlier, but basically as soon as you can, you should be prepared for this knowledge, because it'll help you throughout life.
At every stage of life, isn't it? So the moment you are entering the arena of life, you start understanding, you know. So don't take anything for granted, because once it's gone, you should not lose your sense of balance. You should not be dependent on it, so that it shouldn't create a vacuum in you.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Well said.
So so as I keep reminded of the terminology, you must remember these ideas in the acme of your life. In the best moments of your life, remember what could life be when this is not there. Not when it's not there. When it's not there, everybody is philosophical. But how philosophical you are when it is there is what that needs to be taught. So your children, your grandchildren should be told, oh, everything is going very well with my children and grandchildren. Abba, is it so? Wake up, my dear. Take a whip and a hammer and knock on their head and a whip on their back and say, my fellow, better realize this is not life, man. You want to know life? It will come and teach you a lesson. And how well are they prepared to face it? Tomorrow I've lost your job. Tomorrow you have lost your reputation. As Hirenji was mentioning of his experience last week. For some reason or no reason of his understanding, there was an email you receive, you know, which tarnishing your image. Hirenji, remember saying that last week? What guarantee? So irrespective of what you do with it, should it not unsettle you? That's what it is. Do not be dependent externally. So how much you have invested your thoughts in the present now will prepare you for the eventualities that will happen today and continue to happen the rest of your life.
Can I make a statement here or a question maybe?
Please, sir. Yes.
I think there are two aspects that initially you discussed about. We should realize that how important is what we have right now. It may disappear tomorrow. We should be all prepared about it. It's basically realizing the impermanence nature of what we have, right? So, which is, I believe, at least I feel, is much easier to reconcile with. But then the aspect that what I think who was talking about, Sriniji was explaining the story of the gentleman who wanted to have the farm and his 24-year-old son died, but he still remained rock solid. At least, I mean, I'm sure he felt bad about the whole thing, but he still could tell that I'm going forward with what I planned for it. That is the part I think it's much, much more difficult than the previous part. Is not it?
Yes. It is, in fact, taking perhaps the same quality to a different level altogether.
Possibly, yes.
You know, where, sir, from a loss of the least valuable to the loss of the most valuable to you. If I can ask you, what is the least valuable in your life, sir? So from a mundane perspective, what's the least valuable for you? Which you have no value at all, and yet it is there with you. It's not that you don't have it, you have it with you. The least valuable. Could I say it could be 10 cents a pencil, or you have a few dollars, you have a good decent pen in your pocket, and you go to a bank or you go to an office, government office, and you use the pen, and by mistake you forget that pen.
Yeah.
You come back and say, hey, where's that pencil? Where's my pen? What's the loss of a pen for you, sir? Would you rush back to the bank or the office where you went to search for that pen?
Well, it depends, of course, what kind of a pen is.
Correct.
Or were it a gift from somebody I value or care very much. Correct. So those situations come, but still I feel myself, at least I can overcome that fairly easily.
Fairly easily. So you wouldn't,
I'm very confident about it.
That evening you call for a meeting, condolence meeting. Everybody has come because you have said there's a condolence meeting. And you say, come, what has gone wrong? No, condolence meeting for
I lost pen.
I've lost my pen. So condolence meeting for losing my pen.
Yeah.
People will not know to laugh or cry at you. You know, you're holding condolence meeting for a pen. If your grandchild comes back from school crying that somebody stole my pencil or my eraser, you will go down to the child on your knees and you tell the child, it's okay, beta, no problem. I'll buy for you a better pencil than that. But if I sit and cry, I don't know what to do. So sit and cry and laugh at you. I don't want. So in just raise the bar, as you said, it could be an innocuous pencil, or it could be a valuable something which you valued it. Even that is gone. Something which you have used for 20 odd years, or it was given by someone, your boss gave you, or your son gave, or on his first salary he had, he bought a very expensive gift, something for you. Something you have a value to it, sentimental value, it's gone.
Yeah.
What's the loss of that for you? So
it could,
and sorry.
Go ahead, finish it, please.
No. So there are things in your life which has least value, and then you go up to things which have more value for you.
Yeah.
What is the most valuable thing?
I think it ends up with the children and a wife.
Your family, your near and dear.
Family, yeah.
What could happen to your, could happen to your pencil? Could it not happen to your family? Which is exactly the case. Sriniji said, a man had such grand plans. He has charted out a plan of action and wanted his son to commit and take over. He's groomed him and he's excited about it. He's running around full of energy. And suddenly the best laid plans of mice and men gang off the glade. I remember hearing this beautiful quote. The best laid plans of mice and men gang off the glade. Harishi, could you capture that for us, sir, please? Gang off a glade. The best laid plans of mice and men of mice and men gang off the glade. Means you can plan so many things. Gang off the glade means it's all gone. I remember hearing this gang off the glade elegy. and you sent that message to me only. It was sent to the public, but the best laid plans of mice and men gang off the glade. Is that what you wrote? I remember hearing this, the ashram where I studied, the main Bombay-Pune highway, which is currently there was a railway track. And they were planning for this Bombay-Pune highway now, which is the expressway. It could have gone that side of the track or this side of the track. If it had gone this side of the track, it would have literally been through the ashram, which means all that plans. Imagine an ashram was built, curriculum was being taught, expansions were happening, land was being acquired to build, and etc. And suddenly it's a national project that the highway has to go through that. Nobody is going to listen to you. You may have connections, but they will say, no, there's a whole project. Other side was the mountain section. The foothills of the mountain, the villages were there. So is it easy to shift a patch of ashram or the whole village, or the patch of villages that will be at that side? And that's when I remember I heard this, that you could plan all that, and suddenly a national project of a national highway comes, and they would have literally plowed through. Bulldozers would have been the next morning, bulldozing all that effort you have put in to put up that structure. Everything is gone. So whatever you are doing, at the back of your mind, there must be a thin ray that be prepared if something goes wrong. You have your sense of composure. You're not affected by it. And this could happen to the least valuable thing to the most valuable thing. So the right value you must give to all that you value is understand its impermanence. If you understand its impermanence, it will not have a toll on you. But if you give it an exaggerated value, then it's going to hurt you. As we use the terminology, the black market value. So do not give a black market value. So the best laid plans of mice and men gang off the glade. That's the one. Means it's all gone in its jiffy. Yes, Hirenji, you wanted to say something.
No.
You're good?
Fine. Yeah, understanding impermanence of everything, least valuable to the most valuable. That is the crux of the whole thing.
And be prepared much before the eventuality happens.
Absolutely.
Much before. So when it happens, it doesn't hurt us.
Thank you.
This is what is called preparation to life. You must be prepared. And the earlier the preparation, the well prepared you would be in life. You're ready, Garu? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Guruji, the understanding the impermanence aspect, I just happened to come across an excellent software. I could able to see a couple of days back in news, the topmost executive of Google is left the organization because he asked to come to office, because I think last 2 years been working from home.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So I said, and I could see that life is impermanence, so there is no need I slog for the company. So I want to be wherever I want, take care of my family. I could see this connotation has been taken in a negative note in the most of the people. After the COVID, I've been heard so many times saying that uncertainty of the life has got into the mind, but you should not draw into that. You should be more of a tamasic and to be more pleasurable, live life every moment, not doing anything. and not been committed to the work or not been committed to the society. And I could see a couple of youngsters when I come across meeting them. I'm not saying this is generalizing that everybody have in their mind. In fact, my brother also is in the US. He was mentioning that the recruitment of the people become in a very, very challenging there because nobody want to. The first condition is that we will operate from home. We are not going to come to that.
Oh my God.
There
was so much furrow.
Yes.
In fact, wasn't there so much of unrest when you were told to work from home?
Yes. If you see, the COVID concept has been really changed, that the uncertainties in the life, but we are not taking the right spirit in fighting out. I see that the next moment is not ours, but let's put all our best efforts at this moment. Is the one where we need to think through.
Oh yes,
really
that is. This is too far-fetched. This thought is too far-fetched for people like that. They're not able to adapt to a given situation. To think in terms of that kind of preparation is demanding a little too much, I would think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah. Very sad. Very sad. Harish, all okay? Harish, you made a long
Guruji.
point.
Okay.
All okay? Right.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you.
Sir, you send me such a long message and then I ask you to put namaskar. What do you expect me to say, sir?
It is, you answered it yourself. It was so long that I started typing it when there was some context. I started typing it when there was some context. By the time I finished, the context was over. But then you asked me to send you something the fastest way, or write something on for the group. The fastest way was to get rid of this by sending it to you.
To me. So everybody can read what he posted me. One long thesis is written to me. Sriniji, can you please decode this for us? I'm struggling with Harishji of late. You're right, Harishji. Actually, you're absolutely right what you have said. You know? So
this is a real thesis, correct?
And he's doing that while I'm talking. That's the interesting part. So we don't know where Harishji is. He's in a world and realm of untouched by anybody. Inaccessible he is. Harishji, you're somewhere very high, Harish. All right.
No, I was only saying that since everything is transactional, we have to realize that the only impact that we leave is, there is a chance that we can leave an impact only if there is a lack of self-interest in whatever it is, whatever is there. So the moment there is there is selfishness in any intent, then there is unlikely to be any permanence. There is no continuance after you, or after that act itself is over. It lingers only if there is an unselfishness, if it helps others, if it goes beyond yourself. So one of the ways of combating what he's written is to try and be more and more unselfish. And that, which has come out in various ways in what Reddy Garu said.
Yes, Jay. Okay. All right. So In fact, the best time to, as I've said, to remind yourself of these ideas is in the acme of your life. And these young professionals, how they get affected. Let them be in the entertainment industry. They get into spiraling popularity, name, fame, everything comes to their way. It's just one success. Everybody is talking about you, and then they're young teens, or even you find this in the sports. You are in the prime, in the very young age. You are into the prime, and they get so much popularity. They make so much money. They make so much, and they don't perform for a few matches, then they're dropped. Couple of movies flop, nobody wants you. How well can they handle that? This is what he's talking about. This is the applicability of the same message which would happen at death. In the relative stage, we have to take it. All right. Okay. Let's move on. I think 28, please. Even before I wanted you to chant this, one thing is we don't realize. What is it that we're not realizing? Give me a couple of minutes, Katrina, please. Can we have the... So what is it that we're not realizing? Therefore, what's the conclusion? The conclusion is you are steeped in tamas. You are in tamas. Tamas means ignorance. You have taken things for granted. You think all will be well, and this is how it will be. And the lack of awareness and the lack of urgency to imbibe this wisdom. You think everything will be fine. So what are you talking about? Why are you raising alarm bells? Everything is fine. No. Until you wait for things to happen to realize. You don't realize it now that it can happen any moment. Therefore, it's an urgency that I must step up my effort to soak in this wisdom so that I'm well fortified, well prepared, if and when it happens. And there's no time that is not good for it to do. So it's the good time is to do it now. So the urgency to step up efforts to come out of tamas. So the tamas is what these masters are roaring this truth to us. Awake, wake up, realize now, you do it now. But sadly, we don't have time for it. So the realization is the ignorance and the urgency. All right.